It's actually a very important question. It would require like 50 interviews. It would require a PhD thesis. Seriously, because
No, I'm not worried at all. I rely on God, Allah.
And because you said that, this is actually something that we've discussed in the podcast before. How do we overcome this conditioning? Like, so for example, you're absolutely correct. Like, we have very short attention spans and we jump on the bandwagon of the latest, greatest cause, even though that cause may be very legitimate and it's a very legitimate cause to stand up for. So for example, we have, I'm not sure if this is reflected in Australian society as well, but here, especially in North American and in UK, we hear about this as well, about standing up for civil rights, especially against black people, racism, colorism, these sorts of things. So now Muslims have jumped onto this, many of them, and again, it becomes very, very focused on just this one particular issue, where perhaps like an ummah-based perspective is a little bit more comprehensive when we speak about justice, as a principle, as a concept, right? Which is inclusive of this. So it seems that people are conditioned to just go to the next thing without maybe establishing any real lasting change. You know what I mean? So, for example, we had issue with, obviously, we've had the Palestinian issue always come up, and then it goes up, and then it goes down. We have, this issue in China. We have this Black Lives Matter and this racism issue now here, especially in North America, COVID. So how do we overcome this conditioning and try to work towards lasting change? Because that's not a very easy process to endure.
It's actually a very important question. It would require like 50 interviews. It would require a PhD thesis. Seriously, because it's actually, I don't like to point the fingers at the average person on the street who goes up to work, does the 9 hours, get paid, go home, go to the masjid, pray Isha, wake up, Fajr, pray Fajr. The average person on the street is conditioned according to the collective mind of the people around him or her. This here, it requires the leaders and the ones who are leading the dawah, the ones who are in control of what we call in Arabic al-khitab al-Islami, the Islamic discussion, the narratives, the khutab, the lectures, the talk. When these a group of people, this specific group of people, become like the layman in following hype, then you do have a big problem. And in certain instances, when you say in the UK and in Canada, it's very important to know that what happens in the UK, Australia, usually after 2-3 years, just follow through. So Muslims in Australia will always be following what's happening in the UK. So if you see a group pop up with a certain ideology in the UK, it's going to be reflected in Australia in a year or two, because it just becomes trend to be followed. And going against the trend sometimes for the leader is hard, and for an imam sometimes gets hostage by his followers, and that is where the problem, where the leaders need to have way, to have maturity and understanding and focus and actually direct the masses. Then you have another challenge. The leaders themselves are challenged by the social media that is imposing on you a narrative that everyone follows. And this is, the answer isn't easy, but it has to go from leadership back to the layman, that this is what you should be thinking about. This is what you need to do. Yes, COVID is important or whatever is important, but we need to focus on this. We can't lose the bigger picture. And this is where the leaders need to step up. And if you do, if, for example, let's just say tomorrow is not Eid, Friday, and you go to the masjid and you take the subject of the khutab, you'd find that the speech is not even meeting the issues that should be talked about, and then the layman, either they are bored from the same topic, or they're going to follow through what is said, and if they follow through, they are already diverted from what they should be doing and they should be thinking about. So yes, it does start from leadership, and then putting means like this podcast show or like social media, powerful social media tools to keep the average Muslim focused on the Islamic agenda, or what is supposed to, or the project that could be supporting the bigger picture or the real problem. But to expect the person on the street who just, Muslim, good Muslim, pays their zakat, do everything, they pray 5 times a day, support their local masjid, this person needs direction. Yes. And who's going to give them that direction? But when you find some of the leaders who they're just like the layman in their way of following hype, then don't expect too much. Unfortunately, I'm not going to draw a rosy picture. I'm just gonna tell you things how they are cold.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.